The Lotus app decides that I will go first. After a quick pass around the table, I play the first spell and commander, Kenessos, Priest of Thassa. Stephen follows up with the Firebending Student. Turn 2 is finished with Zander playing a Weaver of Harmony. My turn 3 is an Unruly Grasset. Stephen plays a Fire Nation Engineer and attacks with his Firebending Student. This puts a +1/+1 counter on the Firebending Student after combat. Zander's turn 3 is a Bottomless Pool, returning my Unruly Grasset. He finishes off with the Dollmaker's Shop and attacks Judson. After scrying with a Temple of Silence, I cast the Unruly Grasset. Stephen plays his Obsessive Pursuit, losing life and investigating, then moves to combat. Before attacking, he sacrifices a clue, and Judson responds with the Decadent Dragon, deciding he would rather have his top 2. This rightfully earns Judson a punch to the face with the Firebending Student for stealing some cards. Starting his turn, Judson decides Stephen has cooler lands, so he plays his, and he finishes off with casting his commander, Don Andreas. Without a turn 4 play, Zander passes to me, and I cast Jace Mirror Mage, kicking the spell. Stephen moves straight to combat, attacking, using Firebending Mana to sack a clue, and then putting the 1 counter onto the Firebending Student. Zander just decides to block with a toy. Stephen then ends his turn with the Fire Nation Warship. On Judson's turn, he decides that he'll do my scrying for me and plays a Lantern of Insight, making us all reveal our top card. He then finishes off by casting Stephen's Ty Lee. Before Judson can finish, Zander casts a Glimmer Burst. Finally having all 5 colors, Zander casts Marina Vendrell. This gets him a Ritual Chamber and everyone's least favorite, a Sanctum Weaver. Deciding that seeing just the top wasn't enough, I decide to activate one of my Jaces to scry 3. I then activate Kenessos, putting into play Monstrosity in the Lake. I then attacked all out at Zander, pumping Kenessos to a 4/4. He blocks Kenessos with his commander and takes 4. After that, I activate the Mossport Bridge, revealing and casting the Planetarium of Wan Shi Tong, finishing my turn by scrying and casting a Scourge of the Fleet. After losing a life and investigating for a turn, Stephen taps his Mana Weird and casts his commander, Ozai the Phoenix King. After trading the Firebending Student with Ty Lee, Judson takes 7 commander from Ozai the Phoenix King. Thinking a Ryan Reynolds and Mark Hamill crossover would be fun, Judson plays Deadpool, trading text box with Ozai. Using his floating mana, Ozai is then sacrificed with the Deadpool text. Zander's turn is a Spike's Corridor and a Sanctum Weaver. He then unlocks the Porcelain Gallery with Marina Vendrell. He then attacks me with his toy, and I double block to kill it, losing my Scourge of the Fleets, and he mistakenly replaces it with another toy, missing that the Dollmaker's Shop only triggers when a non-toy attacks. This does affect the game later. After an Omen Hawker and a cast of Kiora, I activate Kiora targeting a Devil, and then I activate a Jix to scry. Deciding I don't like these cards, I put them on the bottom and reveal a Shield Broker. This enters and steals the Sanctum Weaver. I then activate my other Jace, forgetting to reveal the top card after I scry 3. While Judson tries to decide what his Deadpool does, Stephen casts a Reckless Blaze. This is where the creation of that toy actually affects the game, because at this point, Zander should actually have 5 creatures, and they would all die. Before it resolves, I decide to activate the Planetarium to put the top part of my library into play.
That's the top one. Tacoma. A Scry 3. I'm going to put Coma into play.
Oh hey, it's I, the Gentleman. Enjoying this game so far? Want to win some free cards? Well, starting at 500 subscribers, we're giving away these Chocobo bundles, and all you have to do is subscribe. Without further ado, back to the game. After his board wipe, Stephen cast Fire Nation Cadets, then sacks a clue to draw a card. After sacrificing his Lantern of Insight, looking for a red mana, Judson then cast a Evil Twin, copying Coma, World Eater. Zander starts by casting a Dusky Parlor and tapping his commander to unlock the Secret Arcade. He then casts the Meat Locker, tapping down Coma World Eater on Judson's board and paying the ward cost. Next, he cast a Chromatic Lantern and a Ritual Chamber, creating another 6/6 demon. After Judson alluded to having a chain reaction, Zander decides he's got to kill him, so he swings all out at Judson and copies the trigger that makes the toys with his Sanctum Weaver. On my turn, I shock in a Breeding Pool and then cast my commander, Kenessos, Priest of Thassa. I then start by activating Jace to scry. Not liking the options, I activate the other Jace to scry even more cards. This gets me off the top, a Serpent of the Pass. Stephen, deciding that violence isn't enough right now, decides he's going to cast the Rise of Zozan to destroy all creatures. Before he passes, I activate the Planetarium to scry and make myself a blocker, being a Simic Sky Swallow. Zander's turn is recasting his commander and revealing the top 7 cards, putting all enchantments into his hand. This gets him a Surgical Suite and a Valkavoth's Lair. He then casts the Surgical Suite, returning to play the Sanctum Weaver. On my turn, deciding it's time to start handling things, I decide to cast the Hullbreaker Horror. I follow up with an activation of Jace, revealing a spawning Kraken in the top of my library. Activating the other Jace to set up, and then activating Fiora to prevent all damage to and by Marina Vendrell, I then hit him with a Sky Swallower to make a 9/9 Kraken. After drawing the Rise of Zozan, exiles from Zander's library the Promising Stairs. Deciding that a 7/7 Mark Hamill is an adequate blocker, Stephen just casts his commander, Phoenix King Ozai. Zander replays and unlocks the Dollmaker's Shop and Porcelain Gallery. He then casts the Dazzling Theater. Hitting some removal, he casts a Swords to Plowshares and tries to exile my Hullbreaker Horror. I respond with an activation of the Planetarium. This gets me off the top, a Summoned Leviathan, returning all non-Krakens, Leviathans, Octopus, Serpents, and Merfolks to their owner's hands. This makes Zander activate and return his Sanctum Weaver to his hand and replays it and a Dollmaker's Shop. He then finishes off with the Painting Studio. On my turn, I cast a Serpent of Yawning Depths. I then activate both of my Jaces, putting the first couple on the bottom and revealing an Octavia the Living Thesis. I then rightfully smack Zander for 27, drawing 4 cards and making 4 more Krakens. Finally, I finish off with a Fiora activation on Zander's Sanctum Weaver. After drawing, Stephen's Rise of Zozan flips into Fire Lord Zozan. Deciding it's time for a family reunion, Mark Hamill returns as Phoenix King Ozai, the grandson of Zozan. With another justified attack, Stephen bonks me in the head for 7 commander damage. For the 2,000,000th time this game, Marina Vendrell returns and I activate in response the Planetarium of Wan Shiton. Though it's not an answer to Marina, Lorthos joins the gang as another 8/8 blocker. Almost whiffing off Marina and Vendrell, he only hits a Rickety Gazebo. After tapping the Sanctum Weaver for enough green to give Emrakul squirrel flashbacks, he casts a Rickety Gazebo. The Rickety Gazebo entering gets Zander, a Charred Foyer, and a Walk-in Closet, because Yawgmoth's Will in mono green is cool for some reason. Finishing off his mana, he unlocks a Drowned Diner to draw 3 cards, discarding 1. Finally finishing his Storm Count, he activates Marina to unlock the Bottomless Pool, and then reactivates it to bounce my Serpent of Yawning Depths. My turn is activating both Jaces, not really hitting anything too important, and then recasting that Serpent of Yawning Depths.
4, 5, 6. Wow, here's the one that makes them unblockable. You got something for that? Either of you? No? No Dibble's Trickery? That's what I kind of expected. Dibble's Trickery there. You said to bounce it. Let's move to combat. Oh, this guy's dead. And when I attack with the Kraken Leviathan, Octopus Serpent, this turn I get a draw card. We're going to send the protective ones at you. And then we're going to send everything else at you. That is 45 plus another 6, that's 51. And I'll draw 5, 6, 7, 8 cards. You might have something. Nothing? Okay. 4, 8. GG's.
I'll spend some of my mana, 4 of my mana to attack those 2 for the reason drop. Yeah, nothing.
Okay.
Oh, welcome back, dear viewer. Hope you enjoyed that gameplay. So now it's time for a quick breakdown. First off, that Ozai deck did do a lot of board wipes and got a beat face a little bit. Unfortunately, his commander got bounced a bunch and killed a few times, especially that Deadpool hit. Speaking of that Deadpool hit, the Donna Andreas deck stole like 2 cards the entire game. Unfortunately, usually the stealing route of winning is generally quite slower than others because you have to steal their cards before you can even play them. If you had a way to play them for free after stealing them, you would have a much higher advantage. Nextly, that Marina Vendrell deck. That deck storms off like crazy. We actually told him we weren't going to let him play it if he kept the Freed from the Real in the deck, as that is a 2-card infinite that he consistently pulls off with that Sanctum Weaver. I tried my best to keep it off the battlefield, and one of the times it should have been off the battlefield after a board wipe, unfortunately, he kind of missed what was going on with his own cards. Finally, that Kenessos deck, getting free advantage from a Lantern of Insight to allow myself to see the top card at all times, gave me a real heads up, not to mention the Planetarium of Wan Shi Tong completely negates the need to use my commander. It's still nice, though, to be able to scry an additional card. Now on to some announcements. We are still running the giveaway for the Chocobo bundles. At 500 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers, 5,000 and 10,000, we're giving away 1 Chocobo bundle each time. All you have to do to be one of these lucky winners is just subscribe. We have a few other things that'll unlock up milestones, like Warhammer, YouTube memberships, and maybe a cooking channel. We'll see how things go. In addition, once we hit 500 subscribers, there'll be a guaranteed weekly upload, and at 1,000 subscribers, that's a guaranteed bi-weekly upload. Now that announcements are out of the way, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and remember, stay gold.